everyone, welcome to the very first video on the Kylie Hef YouTube channel. I'm really excited to get this channel started. It's going to be equestrian, it's going to be equestrian marketing, it's going to be rural lifestyle. I think it should be just a little bit of everything. So yeah, thank you. However, today we're going to be talking about how to land your very first brand partnership. For context, I work as an equestrian marketing manager for about 20 different global brands that are available in Australia right now. Some of these brands have quite significant brand ambassadorship programs. So I'm working with brand ambassadors every day. I get people emailing me all the time about brand ambassador opportunities. So I've seen, I suppose, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Instead of, I suppose, gatekeeping this information, I want to be able to share it onto you guys. Approaching a brand can be like a super duper scary thing to do. But if you kind of prepare yourself properly and do things the right way, it can be a lot easier. So today I'm kind of going to take you through what I feel would be the best steps in order to get a brand partnership. So I think the very first thing that you want to think about before you've even, considered which brands you want to work with or anything like that is what kind of brand partnership are you looking for? Are you looking for a brand ambassador position, which is more of a long-term sponsorship deal? Or are you wanting to do more, are you more of like an influencer style and wanting to do more one-off promotions of products? Sometimes when people approach me, they're not very clear about what it is that they're actually seeking. And to me, who's very busy and got a lot on their plate, it can kind of just be a little bit off-putting. I think it's really important to be clear about that because they're two very different things. Athlete brand ambassadorship programs in the equestrian world, I suppose, are like the tried and tested classical style of sponsorship. But over the past 10 years, with like the rise of social media and people becoming influencers and all that kind of stuff, that space now is becoming just as big. The next thing you need to think about is what kind of brands and what brands do you ideally want to work with? Sometimes the brands that we really want to work with might be kind of up here. So you might need to think about a different brand to start with, one that you also love, but is a little bit more accessible, especially if you're just starting out. If you've got lots and lots of followers, like, 10, 20,000 followers, are well established, you can obviously think about bigger brands with bigger deals. But when you're first starting out, it's good just to start small. I say start small because brand ambassadorship and brand deals can be a little different once you've got one to probably what you expected. Brands love to associate with people who already love their product. So during a brand partnership with a brand that you don't really know well is probably not a very good idea. And that's because when you go to approach them, you're not really going to have much to tell them about what you like about their products. Brings us to our next point, the actual approach. Now, how you approach these brands is where you're going to either make or break the deal. This for me is where most people definitely fall down. And it can be very devastating if you do not do this correctly. So a huge mistake that people make is getting ChatGPT to write some little short paragraph that starts with "to whom it may concern," and then it goes on to talk about how you're looking for sponsorship for upcoming events, like Equestrian. You're going overseas and you need to raise cash for plane tickets, accommodation, to pay for the training program. And then kind of just shoot it off to like 10 different people, half of which they probably do know, half of which they may not, is just the fastest way for your email to just go straight into the bin. You really need to personalize every single email that you're sending out to potential brand partners. And this is because you need to demonstrate to that person reading that email that you are someone who already enjoys the product, knows something about the product, and will be, of benefit to the brand. Brand partnerships are exactly that. They're a partnership. Lots of brands are small businesses as well. And for them to kind of hand over product for you, that takes money out of their bottom line. They want to know that they're giving that to someone that is going to align and be able to partner with them really well. So if it was me and I was reaching out to a brand, I would definitely start with trying to figure out who it is that I'm speaking to, number one, whether that be talking to a friend who maybe has a partnership with them or someone that knows them. Number two, writing them an email about, first of all, how much you love their products. That could be their breeches, it could be a grooming product, it could be anything, whatever brand it is and whatever you love about it. You need to tell them exactly what you're using and why you love it. After that, you can then kind of go on and explain to them why you're seeking sponsorship. Maybe it is for an upcoming event. Maybe it's just because you really like the brand and you'd love to be partnered with them. And tell them how you're going to be of benefit for them. Are you making content around these products? Are you going to wear their branding with pride in the arena when you're competing? Are you running clinics where you can showcase this product to a whole heap of people? You've really got to be able to sell yourself to that brand as a bit of a product yourself. I'll tell you right now, if someone from the marketing department reads that email, they will take notice of you and they will be like, oh, okay, this person actually likes these products. Next thing that will happen once you've kind of gotten through the gatekeeper in whatever brand's marketing department, that may even just be the brand owner. Then they're going to probably next thing jump onto your social pages. Now, this is to probably see, first of all, what kind of content you're creating. If you've got any other partnerships, and to make sure that you aren't giving off any red flags, which I'm going to hit at the end of this video. If you're seeking these partnerships, you need to make sure that your pages look really, really nice and tight. It also means that they have to be able to see that you are creating content. It might be in the case of, let's just say you've got another brand partnership and you can demonstrate to the new brand that you've done this for this other brand. So they go, okay, we trust that a little bit more. If, however, you're just starting out, making content around the products that you love just in your everyday kind of like goings about is also another really good way to demonstrate how much of an asset you could be for this brand. The other thing you should be doing before you engage with the brand is making sure that you're following all their pages, that you're liking their posts, that you're commenting, that you're, I suppose, generating engagement with their pages. One thing brands probably won't tell you is that it's very, very difficult to get engagement on brand posts. This, I think, has a little bit to do with the algorithm, specifically on meta platforms, wanting businesses to pay for sponsored ads. It just basically means that when a brand puts content out that's just from the brand, it's just a lot harder for that post to be successful. When you post personal content, it tends to do a lot better. And that's because people kind of know when they're being sold something. So it's really important for brands to have partnerships so that they're getting a little bit of access to people's pages where they can get a bit of engagement from their followers. So if a brand can see that you can potentially do that for them, then they're going to be a lot more interested in you rather than someone who's kind of just posting bits and bobs here and there. After that, let's just say you've gotten to the point where the brand has gone over your pages, they've enjoyed what they've seen, they feel like you guys can align. Then it will probably go into more of the, I suppose, negotiations part of a brand deal. Me, I like to call people or have like a FaceTime or something of that description where we can kind of get to know each other a little bit more. During this time, I'll generally discuss, I suppose, what we're looking to see in regards to ROI. Now, ROI means return on investment. And when we're talking about investment, we're talking about whatever the brand is giving you. Now, from where you're sitting, you need to make sure that you feel comfortable with what's being asked of you. Just like there are people who take advantage of brands, there are also brands that take advantage of people. I try and be as transparent as possible with potential ambassadors and influencers about what we require from them. And that's because of probably having done it wrong a couple of times when I first started out. It's really important that both yourself and the brand are on the same page about what's expected. If you feel like it's too much, then that's okay. There are plenty of other brands out there that you can engage with that, potentially are going to meet your expectations. And it goes for the brands as well. Sometimes the brands will say what it is that they're after, and you can tell that the person that you're engaging with just isn't quite on board with what's being asked of them. And at that point, it's totally fine to walk away. But it is just really important that everyone knows what's going on and what's expected of them. Because again, it's a partnership and you're there to build each other up. Then moving on to the next step will be your first little bit of content. Now, in terms of content, I have a very specific type of content that I dislike, and that is very product heavy content. Now, when I mean product heavy, I mean someone standing in front of a camera and being like, let's say this is the product that we're selling, this little brush here, being like, hi, my name is blah, blah, and I really like this brush because so on and so forth. That kind of content to me is really done. It's going to perform quite poorly because it's too product focused and people think it's an ad, and it's just not authentic. Like, the whole point of having a brand partnership is to align with brands that you feel connected to for whatever reason. Maybe it's the best feed you've ever fed your horses. Maybe they're the best breeches you've ever put on your butt. Maybe it's the best mane and tail spray that you've ever had. That's why really liking the brands is going to help at this stage. So instead of doing that very product heavy content, you want to show people you using these products in your everyday routine. So for example, if it's a grooming product, maybe you do like a little spotlight on your grooming routine before you go to a show. And you can utilize those products while you're doing that and show everyone how awesome they are. Obviously then need to tag the sponsor in the comments. Potentially they'll be asking for a collaboration on that post as well. But that style of content is going to perform 100% better than something that is very kind of product heavy. But again, it's something you need to discuss with an individual brand. Sometimes brands may want you to do a kind of product review style. But for me personally, I'd prefer more of the lifestyle kind of content. I think that's probably enough to get you started. But as promised, I want to take you guys through a little bit more information about my top 5 red flags when someone approaches me for a brand ambassadorship. Number 1 is the generic email. Now, I think we've kind of covered that already at the start of the video, but again, like to whom it may concern, this is my name, this is what I'm doing. Nothing about the brand, nothing about the product. To me, it just kind of reeks of handout and someone who wants to put in as least amount of effort as possible. That one will pretty much always get a, I'm really sorry, but we're not taking applicants at this time, or etc. You'll very rarely get feedback as well, guys, from someone when you are approaching them and you've done it in the wrong way. The next one is the person who approaches you who has a gajillion sponsors already. While that's a huge privilege as someone in the equestrian world, and you probably worked very hard for those sponsors, for new sponsors to then come on, when we see that many people, we know that we're going to be competing for time on your page. Pages that are also super sponsor heavy can be a little bit off-putting to your general consumer. While you always need to shoot for the brand partnerships that you want, when you have that many, it kind of makes me ask the question, do you really align with all of these brands, or is this just something that you're doing? Third red flag was people who have heaps of followers, but not much content. This one for me smells a little. I see this a little bit on Instagram, and it's something that usually makes me go for a little bit of an investigation. And I've found lots of different things here. Sometimes people have kind of gone through and wiped a whole heap of their content, which I can understand. Like, if you're looking for sponsors and maybe it was more of a personal page that you were going with, and you didn't want all that stuff on there anymore for a potential sponsor to see. So I understand that. Another one is people who have a whole heap of followers from like random places all over the planet. That to me is a huge red flag. A, these people are not going to be worried about some little product that you're selling in Australia. And B, where did they all come from? I think we know where they came from. Anyway, no judgment. The next one was people who have a couple of sponsors already, but when I go onto their page, they don't mention their sponsors anywhere. They don't ever do posts with their sponsors. It's just kind of like the sponsors don't exist. This to me just kind of goes, oh, well, if I give you sponsorship, like, are you going to do this to us as well? That to me is a little bit scary. So they tend to be people that I kind of avoid as well. Last one is one that sits quite close to, I think, every equestrian's heart, and it's staying away from people who utilize, outdated, cruel, or just poor training practices. I think as a community now, like, we all know that we need to do better. And if you've got someone representing your brand, you want to make sure that they're doing the best that they can with their horses. And if they're kind of known for this, generally we will kind of run for the hills as well. So that's it for today, guys. I really enjoyed making this video. If you've got any questions, make sure you drop them in the comments. I would love for you guys to subscribe as well, because I really want to keep going with this channel. And keep an eye on my TikTok as well, because I'll be doing a little bit of crossover between the two channels. Anyway, thank you for coming to my TED Talk, and I hope you all have a nice day.